She once humiliated me in front of guests over a bottle of balsamic vinegar. That was the night something in me quietly switched off. 6 months later, the divorce papers were under a salt shaker, and I was on a plane to Lisbon. She moved on fast, vineyard wedding, picture perfect, until one guest's toast blew it all apart. Then she called me, screaming down the line. I was 4,000 miles away, finally able to breathe. My name is Raymond Cole. I'm 54. And 6 months ago, I did something most men my age only daydream about while stuck in traffic on the way to work. I divorced my wife of 28 years, turned my life into what could fit in 2 suitcases, and moved to Lisbon, Portugal. No explosive fight, no dramatic showdown in the driveway. Just a set of divorce papers under a coffee mug, my house keys on top, and a note that said, "Everything is yours. I'm gone." Back in Denver, I was a commercial real estate developer. Strip malls, office buildings, those anonymous boxes that make every city in America look like a copy of the last. The money was good. I had a solid reputation, and we lived in a beautiful Cherry Creek home that Catherine styled like something out of a design magazine. From the outside, we looked ideal. Inside, I felt like I was slowly being buried alive. Catherine was a luxury real estate agent, selling multi-million-dollar homes to tech executives and oil heirs. Somewhere along the line, she decided our real life had to match the fantasy she was selling. Nothing was ever quite enough. Granite countertops needed to be marble. Then the marble had to be Italian. Then the Italian marble had to come from one very specific quarry in Carrara that maybe 3 people in Colorado had ever heard of. I stopped pushing back around year 23. By year 26, I was sleeping in my office more nights than in our bed. By year 28, I realized I was essentially sharing a mortgage and a last name with a stranger. We had 2 kids. Olivia is 27 now, an investigative journalist in Chicago, sharp as a knife. She got my skepticism and her mother's tenacity. She saw through Catherine's performance long before I found the guts to walk away. Then there's Jason, 24, a junior investment banker in New York. He's smart, but he fully bought into his mother's narrative. In his eyes, I was the problem. Cold, distant, emotionally unavailable. All Catherine's lines, just coming from his mouth. The heart attack happened 3 months before I left. A small one, the kind that doesn't kill you, but taps you on the shoulder and reminds you the next one might. My cardiologist used the word stress 14 times in one appointment. I drove home, walked into the house, and saw Catherine screaming into her phone about staging a listing. That's when it hit me. I could drop dead in that house, and she wouldn't notice until someone complained that my body was blocking access to her walk-in closet. So I started planning, quietly, carefully. The way you handle anything that really matters. Over 6 months, I rearranged everything. I put my assets into a family trust with Olivia as trustee. I refinanced properties, stacked loans in ways Catherine would never see coming. On paper, everything was clean and legal. It was just strategically structured. The house, the cars, the furniture, all in her name, along with the debt that came with them. The morning I left, Denver was still dark. I drove myself to the airport, parked in long-term, and never looked back. By the time Catherine rolled out of bed and found my note, I was somewhere over the Atlantic, drinking awful airplane coffee and feeling something I hadn't felt in years: peace. Now my mornings start with church bells and Alfama, not calendar alerts. I drink espresso that actually tastes like something and walk alongside the Tagus River, watching ships heading to places I'll probably never see. I paint badly. I swim in the ocean. I've learned just enough Portuguese to order wine and apologize for my terrible Portuguese. I haven't spoken to Catherine since the day I left. I didn't check her social media, didn't ask mutual friends for updates. I already knew the pattern. 1 week of grieving, 2 weeks of rage, then a new man to plug into the empty space. And I was right. I got divorced and left the country. She remarried almost immediately. I found out through a message from someone I barely remembered, but that part comes later. Right now, I'm on my balcony in Lisbon, watching the sunset turn the river into molten gold, about to tell you what happened when Catherine's flawless new life crashed into the past she had tried so hard to wipe out. Life in Lisbon moved at a pace I had forgotten existed. No alarm clocks, no conference calls, no Catherine's voice slicing through the morning, because I'd bought the wrong brand of organic coffee. Just me, the ocean air, and a city that had survived earthquakes and still somehow remembered how to breathe. I'd been there 4 months when the message arrived. I was at my usual cafe in Barrio Alto. The owner, Manuel, had long since given up correcting my pronunciation. Now he just smiled when I ordered. I was sketching the crooked rooflines across the street, another new habit to keep my hands busy, when my phone buzzed. Instagram DM sender, Danny Riker, a guy I hadn't spoken to since the Clinton years. His profile showed him graying at the temples, hugging a golden retriever, looking content. The message itself was simple. Hey Raymond, long time, not sure if you care, but thought you should know. Catherine's getting married. Next month, vineyard wedding up in Napa. Guy named Kenneth Bradshaw. Owns a bunch of car dealerships. Figured you'd want a heads up. Take care, man. I read it twice, set my phone down, picked up my espresso. The cup felt solid and warm in my hand. I wasn't angry. I wasn't sad. I was curious. The same way you're curious about a movie you walked out of halfway through. I recognized the name. Kenneth Bradshaw. Flashy type. He'd show up to industry events in suits that were trying way too hard, and a new luxury car every quarter, like he was his own billboard. He'd hit on Catherine at a charity gala 3 years back. I remembered because she'd laughed a little too loudly, in that way meant to draw attention. I opened my laptop. Her Instagram was public, of course. Catherine thrived on being seen. Her feed was exactly what I expected. Engagement photos that probably cost more than my first car. She in white, he in navy, both holding champagne glasses against a sunset that looked like it had been edited within an inch of its life. The captions were the kind of faux poetic nonsense written by someone who's never actually read poetry. When you know, you know. Finally found my forever. Some people are worth the wait. I scrolled through the comments, friends gushing, clients trying to stay on her good side, and a few brave people asking what happened to me. Those questions had vanished, but the broken numbering gave away where they used to be. Then I saw the tagged location, 7 Hills Vineyard, Napa Valley, California. Something in my brain clicked into place, cold, clear, and very, very focused. I closed Instagram and opened my old files. It took me about 10 minutes to dig it up, buried in a folder called Old Projects. There it was, a brochure from 15 years ago, 7 Hills Vineyard investment opportunity. Catherine and I had driven up there one weekend back when we still did weekends together. She'd hated it, too quiet, too rustic, not nearly polished enough for her tastes. I flipped through the PDF until I found the page I half remembered, the section on event hosting technical specs. And there it was, in tiny print under the acoustic engineering notes. Outdoor venues may experience significant echo. Professional sound systems recommended for speeches and toasts. Test equipment advised. I leaned back in my chair. Manuel came by with more coffee. I thanked him in my mangled Portuguese. He laughed and patted my shoulder. The wedding was in 3 weeks. Catherine was marrying Kenneth Bradshaw at a venue with acoustics that could carry a whisper 100 yards. And she'd just broadcast every detail to the world, complete with location tag and a hashtag. I scrolled through my contacts until I found a number I hadn't dialed in years. Richard Pelletier. He used to run a high-end catering company in San Francisco before retiring to Sonoma. I'd helped him restructure a deal in 2015 that kept his business from going under. He'd told me back then, if you ever need something, call. So I called. He picked up on the 3rd ring, his voice warm, surprised. We caught up for a few minutes, traded the usual updates. Then I told him what I needed. Not much, on paper. Just a small favor, a name on a vendor list, 1 extra guest, clean background, a plausible reason to be there. Richard went quiet for a moment, then gave a low, knowing laugh. You know what, Raymond, he said, I think I can help you with that. Consider it done. I thanked him, hung up, and finished my coffee. The sun was dipping over the Tagus, staining everything gold and orange. I wasn't going to the wedding. I didn't need to. But I was going to make sure it was unforgettable. Olivia called me 2 days after I spoke with Richard. It was early morning in Lisbon, late evening in Chicago. She never calls without a reason. My daughter treats words like a scarce resource. Dad, she said as soon as I answered, no greeting, no small talk. I saw Mom's Instagram, the wedding, Kenneth Bradshaw. You know about this? I stepped out onto the balcony, phone pressed to my ear. Down below, a street musician was setting up his accordion. "I know," I said. And what? And are you okay?" Her voice softened a fraction, the way it does when she's trying to hear what I'm not saying. "I'm fine, sweetheart. Better than fine. Your mother's choices aren't my problem anymore." Silence on the other end. Then, "Jason's going," she said. "He's in the wedding party." I froze, set my coffee down. "He's what?" Kenneth asked him personally. Mom sold it as some huge honor, blending families, new beginnings, all that. Jason swallowed it whole. He thinks this proves Mom's moved on to something better. I close my eyes. My son, 24, sharp enough to model market behavior, yet oblivious to his mother's manipulation. "And you?" I asked. "I got an invitation," she said. "Very formal, very Catherine. I sent my regrets." She hesitated. "Dad, I've been doing some digging on Kenneth Bradshaw's dealerships. Something's off. His financial disclosures look clean, but the pattern doesn't. I've seen this before. Same structure as that Ponzi scheme I exposed last year. This is why Olivia is the best investigative journalist in Chicago. She sees patterns where everyone else hears static." "What did you find?" I asked. "Nothing I could publish yet," she said. "But his expansion timeline doesn't match his reported revenue. 3 new dealerships in 18 months. That takes major capital. His credit lines are stretched to the limit. My guess. He's using new investor money to pay off old debt. Classic pyramid. How long until it all falls apart? 3 months, maybe 4. There's also a lawsuit brewing. Former business partner accusing him of fraud. It's under the radar for now, but I found the court filings." I looked out toward the river. A cargo ship was creeping toward the Atlantic, slow and deliberate. "Does your mother know?" I asked. "Of course not," Olivia said. "She sees the cars, the houses, the lifestyle. She never looks under the hood." Her voice hardened. "Dad, Jason's tied to this. If Kenneth goes down publicly, anyone linked to him gets splashed. Jason's bank will not love seeing their junior analyst associated with a fraud case." "What are you thinking?" I asked. "I'm thinking," she answered slowly, "that someone should make sure the right information surfaces at the right time, before Jason gets dragged in deeper." I smiled despite myself. My daughter, 27, already playing 3 moves ahead. "You know I can't be involved in anything that looks like sabotage," I said. "I know," she replied, "but you also taught me that truth doesn't need help. It just needs timing." She paused. "I'm flying out to Napa," she added. "I told Mom I changed my mind and want to support her new beginning." "Olivia, Dad, Jason's my brother," she cut in. "He's being an idiot, but he's my idiot. If this wedding is going to be memorable, I want him to actually see what's going on before it's too late." I was quiet for a moment. "Then be careful," I said. "Always," she replied. I could hear the smile in her voice. "Oh, and Dad, about that favor you called in with Richard Pelletier, the caterer. How did you—" "I'm an investigative journalist. It's literally my job. I saw the guest list edition. Clark Witherby +1. Very subtle," she laughed. "I like it. Old school, elegant." "I have no idea what you're talking about," I said. "Sure you don't." "Love you, Dad." "Love you too, sweetheart." After she hung up, I stayed on the balcony a long time. The musician below started playing something slow and haunting. Tourists stopped, listened, tossed coins into his case. The sun climbed higher. My daughter was going to her mother's wedding. Not to celebrate, but to document. And somewhere in Napa, a man named Clark Witherby was about to become the most important guest no one remembered inviting. Jason called 3 days before the wedding. I almost let it go to voicemail. We hadn't spoken since I left. He'd sent one email, short, cold, saying he was disappointed in how I'd handled the situation. No questions, no interest in my side of the story. Just judgment wrapped in Catherine's phrasing, but I picked up. "Dad?" His voice was stiff and formal, the tone he probably used with clients. "Jason," I said. The silence between us felt like a canyon. Finally, he spoke. "I'm calling because I think you should know. I'm standing up at Mom's wedding. Kenneth asked me personally." "Olivia mentioned that," I said. He sounded genuinely surprised. "She's coming too. Changed her mind at the last minute. I thought maybe you—" "I had nothing to do with that," I cut in. "Your sister makes her own choices." More silence. "Kenneth's a good guy, Dad," he said at last. "Successful, Treats Mom right. He's everything she deserves. The words just hung there. Everything she deserves. Everything I apparently wasn't. I bit back my first instinct and chose my reply carefully. I'm glad your mother's happy, I said. I truly am. Are you? The challenge in his voice was unmistakable. Because it seems like you just bailed, walked away from everything, from us. I walked away from a marriage that was killing me, Jason, I said quietly. Not from you or your sister. Could have fooled me, he shot back. You left a note on the counter like you were quitting a job. I stood up and started pacing. Your mother and I were together for 28 years, I said. For 23 of those, I was breaking myself trying to be enough, trying to meet standards that changed every time I got close. I had a heart attack, Jason. A small one, but real. The doctor told me stress was going to finish what genetics started, so I made a choice. By running away, he said. By saving my own life, I answered, my voice harder now. And if you think that's weakness, then your mother taught you well. He went quiet. I could hear traffic in the background, the constant hum of New York. Jason, I said, softer this time. I know Kenneth, not well, but enough. Just promise me something. When you're standing up there watching your mother get married, pay attention. Not to what people say, to what they don't say. What's that supposed to mean? It means the best investors ask questions, I said. They verify. They look at fundamentals, not just performance. I paused. You're good at that. Don't stop just because it's family. I don't need career advice, Dad. I'm not talking about your career, I said. I'm talking about your judgment. Kenneth Bradshaw's built something impressive, very impressive. Ask yourself how he did it. Ask if the math really adds up. You're trying to poison this? He snapped. I'm trying to protect you, I replied. There's a difference. From what? From being collateral damage when performance doesn't match reality. Jason was silent for a long moment. I have to go, he said finally. Rehearsal dinner's in a few days. I need to work on my toast. Jason, goodbye, Dad. The line went dead. I set my phone down and looked out over Lisbon. The city was fully waking up now, filling with sound and movement and life. Somewhere in New York, my son was furious with me for leaving. Somewhere in Chicago, my daughter was packing a suitcase and getting ready to record a train wreck. And somewhere in Napa Valley, Catherine was about to marry a man whose empire was already starting to crack at the foundation. I picked up my phone again and sent Olivia a single text. Keep an eye on your brother. Her reply came back almost instantly. Already on it. The rehearsal dinner went on without me, but Olivia sent updates like she was filing a breaking news brief. Short messages, clinical details, no emotion, just facts. Arrived. Catherine looks nervous. Kenneth's overcompensating. Jason's toast was about new beginnings. Didn't mention you once. Clark Witherby just introduced himself to Kenneth. Says he's an old family friend. Kenneth bought it. That last one made me smile. I was sitting in my Lisbon apartment, drinking port and watching the slow traffic of boats on the river. The image of Kenneth Bradshaw shaking hands with a man who, for him, might as well have been a ghost was satisfying in ways I didn't quite want to examine too closely. Olivia called an hour later. I could hear music and chatter in the background, noise bleeding through the line. He's perfect, Dad, she said quietly. I could tell she'd stepped outside. Clark, mid-70s. Looks like somebody's grandfather. He's got this whole story about knowing Catherine's family back east. Completely made up, but he sells it beautifully. I don't know anyone named Clark Witherby, I said evenly. She laughed. Right, of course not. Anyway, she went on, Kenneth introduced him to Mom. She looked confused for about 3 seconds, then smiled and played along. You know how she is. Never admits she doesn't know something. How's your brother? I asked. The pause told me more than words could. He's all in, Dad, she said. He gave this whole toast about how Kenneth is everything a real man should be. Successful, confident, committed. The subtext wasn't exactly subtle. And you? I smiled, clapped, played the supportive daughter, she said. Then I spent 20 minutes in the bathroom going through public records on my phone. Kenneth's dealerships filed for an extension on their quarterly reports. That's never a good sign. His primary lender cut his credit line last month. And that former partner, he's about to file a civil fraud suit. I sat up straighter. How soon? Filing date is set for 2 weeks after the wedding, she said, but the preliminary documents are already circulating in legal circles. If Jason's bank hears about it before the wedding, they might start questioning his judgment. Does Catherine know any of this? Are you kidding? Olivia snorted. She's too busy choreographing the reception. She literally has a timeline for when people are supposed to cry during her vows. I saw the document. It's color-coded. I could picture it exactly. Catherine turning her wedding into a stage production, every moment designed for maximum emotional impact. What about Clark? I asked. What's his role in all this? He's giving a toast tomorrow during the reception, she said. He specifically asked for a slot, said he wanted to honor old friendships and new beginnings. The wedding planner loved it. Mom approved it without asking a single question. And Kenneth? He thinks it's a nice, traditional touch. Classy. He has no idea what's coming, I murmured. Olivia's tone shifted, grew more serious. Dad, what exactly did you tell Clark to say? I didn't give him anything specific, I said. I just suggested he speak from the heart, about truth, about foundations, about making sure what looks solid actually is solid. That's beautifully vague, she said dryly. I learned from the best corporate attorneys, I replied. She went quiet for a moment. Jason's sharing a room with one of Kenneth's business partners, she added. Guy named Todd, investment banker type. I overheard them talking about a deal that collapsed last month. Kenneth needed cash fast. Todd mentioned creative accounting. Did Jason react? He laughed it off, she said. Said all successful people push boundaries. That's what separates winners from employees. Her voice turned bitter. Mom's trained him well. Just watch out for him tomorrow, I said. When things get interesting, define interesting, she said. I think you'll know it when you see it, I answered. After we hung up, I stepped back onto my balcony. Lisbon was sliding into its evening rhythm, lights coming on, voices rising and falling in the streets below, while somewhere across the Atlantic, a perfectly curated wedding day was ticking closer to the moment everything would finally and inevitably crack. My daughter was getting ready to watch my ex-wife's perfect day sprout complications. And in Napa Valley, a man named Clark Witherby was preparing to say things that needed to be said out loud. I slept better that night than I had in years. The wedding, from a distance, was gorgeous. Olivia sent photos. Catherine in an ivory gown that probably cost more than my first car. Kenneth in a custom tux that made him look like the star of a luxury car commercial. White fabric draped over the vineyard, flowers everywhere. Everything polished, everything staged. The ceremony itself went off without a hitch. Vows that sounded like they'd been copy-pasted from a greeting card. Readings about love and partnership and forever. Jason stood beside Kenneth, smiling like this was the exact life trajectory he'd always imagined. Then came the reception. Olivia's texts started coming faster. Speeches starting. Maid of honor cried on cue. Kenneth's brother made a joke about his expensive taste. Everyone laughed. Jason's up next. This should hurt. I waited. 5 minutes, 10. Then my phone rang. Dad. Olivia's voice was tight, urgent. You need to hear this. I'm recording. She must have lifted the phone because suddenly the sound shifted and I could hear the reception clearly. Jason's voice coming through the speakers, amplified by those excellent vineyard acoustics. Kenneth Bradshaw is the kind of man we should all aspire to be, my son was saying. He's built an empire through hard work and vision. He treats my mother like a queen. He showed me what real success looks like. To Kenneth and Catherine, may your future be as bright as your past is forgotten. As your past is forgotten, the dig was obvious. I was the past, the failure, the chapter they had turned the page on. Applause, glasses clinking, then Olivia's voice. Clark's up now. Here we go. The crowd noise faded. I heard someone clear their throat. Then an older voice, steady, controlled, the kind that makes people naturally pay attention. Good evening, everyone. My name is Clark Witherby, and I've known the Bradshaw family for many years. The lie slid out smooth as polished stone. I wanted to take a moment to celebrate this union, he continued, but also to talk about something important, truth. The reception got noticeably quieter. I could hear the room listening. Catherine, you look absolutely radiant. Kenneth, you've clearly made quite an impression. He paused. I've been in business a long time, Clark said. I've seen a lot of deals, a lot of partnerships. The ones that survive aren't built on appearances or promises, but on solid foundations. Another pause, longer this time. So I'd like to raise a glass to Catherine and her second chance at happiness, he went on, and to Raymond wherever he is tonight. Probably somewhere quiet, probably painting, probably finally able to breathe. His voice carried across the vineyard exactly the way the acoustic notes had promised it would. Catherine, I hope you're sure you traded up, darling, he added calmly. Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you may have traded solid ground for quicksand. Dead silence, the kind that makes the air feel heavier. But hey, Clark continued, lightening his tone just a notch. What do I know? I'm just an old man who believes in asking questions like, how does someone open 3 new dealerships in 18 months without traditional financing? Or, why does a successful businessman need to restructure his credit lines every quarter? Or, what happens when the music stops and everyone suddenly realizes there aren't enough chairs? I could hear movement now, shuffling, someone trying to get to the mic, nervous laughter. Anyway, Clark said smoothly, to the happy couple, may your forever be louder than your past, and may you both get exactly what you deserve. Then everything dissolved into chaos, voices overlapping, someone yelling, music blaring way too loud in a frantic attempt to plaster over the disaster. Olivia came back on the line, breathless. Dad, holy hell, Catherine just bolted. Kenneth's face is purple. Jason looks like he got hit by a truck. Half the room is on their phones, the other half is pretending nothing happened. Where's Catherine now? I asked. Outside. I can see her through the window. She's pacing. She just pulled out her phone. Olivia paused. Oh my God, she's calling someone. Dad, I think she's calling you. My phone buzzed. Catherine's name lit up the screen, a number I'd deleted but could never really forget. I need to go, I told Olivia. Keep an eye on your brother. He's going to need you. I switched over. Catherine, you... Her voice came through shaking with rage. You had someone crash my wedding. You set this up. You planted that man. I have no idea what you're talking about, I said. I'm in Portugal. Don't lie to me, she snapped. That speech, those questions, that was you. Was it? I said calmly. Or was it just someone asking questions that should have been asked months ago? She was breathing hard. I could picture her. Expensive dress, flawless makeup, entire world starting to crumble. You're a coward, Raymond, she spit out. You always were. Couldn't face me yourself, so you sent some hired gun to ruin my day. Your day isn't ruined because of me, Catherine, I said evenly. It's ruined because you built it on sand and convinced yourself it was bedrock. I hate you. I know, I replied, but that's not my problem anymore. I kept my tone steady. Go back to your wedding, smile for the cameras, do what you do best, perform. Kenneth will. Kenneth will what? She demanded. Defend you? Explain those questions away? I paused. Catherine, the man can't even cleanly explain his own financials. Good luck explaining your choices. She made a sound caught between a sob and a scream, then the line cut. I set my phone down and looked out over Lisbon. City lights shimmered on the river like fallen stars that had decided to stay. Somewhere across the Atlantic, my ex-wife's perfect wedding had just become unforgettable. And in the middle of all that chaos, my son was finally starting to ask the questions he should have asked months ago. Truth doesn't need anyone's permission to speak. It just needs decent acoustics and perfect timing. The video hit the internet within hours. Someone at the wedding, probably a younger guest, had recorded Clark's entire toast and dropped it on TikTok. By morning in Lisbon, it had 500,000 views. By that evening, over 3 million. The caption read, "Savage wedding toast destroys bride. Wait for the ending." The comments were brutal. Did he just ask if she traded up? The way her face changes at 047, she knows. This man woke up and chose violence. May your forever be louder than your past is the most elegant murder I've ever seen. Someone even put together a compilation. Catherine's face frozen at the exact moment Clark said, "Traded up." Zoomed in, slowed down, the smile collapsing, the champagne glass tilting, realization spreading across her features like spilled ink. Within 24 hours, it had become a meme. Catherine's wedding face was everywhere. Reddit, Twitter, Instagram. People used that frozen expression to caption regret, bad decisions, instant karma. There were side-by-side edits, before and after shots, reaction clips. Think pieces started popping up about rich people and their performative relationships. Olivia kept sending me links. Dad, this is everywhere. Mom's name is trending. Her brokerage is getting calls. Clients are asking questions. I scrolled through it all. Felt nothing. No gloating, no guilt. Just the detached sense that cause and effect had finally met on schedule. Then Jason called. Dad. His voice was different this time, smaller, shaken. We need to talk. I'm listening, I said. Kenneth's dealerships are being audited, he said. That lawsuit Clark mentioned, it was filed yesterday. His former business partner is accusing him of using investor money to pay off personal debts. The banks are freezing his assets. He paused. My firm called me in, he continued. They asked about my relationship with Kenneth. Asked if I had any knowledge of his finances before the wedding. What did you tell them? I asked. The truth, he said. That I didn't know. That I should have asked questions but didn't. His voice cracked a little. They're putting me on administrative leave, he said. Pending investigation. They said my judgment is compromised. I closed my eyes. I'm sorry, son. Are you? He snapped. Because you knew this was coming, and you let me walk right into it anyway. I warned you, I said. I told you to look at the fundamentals. You called it sabotage. You could have told me the truth directly instead of playing games with planted guests and cryptic warnings. Would you have listened? I asked quietly. If I'd called and said, Jason, Kenneth Bradshaw is a fraud, would you have believed me? Or would you have defended your mother and accused me of being bitter? The silence that followed was long and heavy. I don't know, he said at last. Maybe you're right. Maybe I wouldn't have listened. He let out a rough breath. Olivia's been helping me, he said. She pulled all the public records, showed me everything. The lawsuits, the foreclosures, the pattern of fraud going back 3 years. It was all there. I just didn't want to see it. Your mother has that effect on people, I said. She makes you want to believe her version of reality. She's not talking to me, Jason said quietly. I called her, asked if she knew about Kenneth's issues. She said I was betraying her, that I was choosing your side. Then she hung up. I'm sorry, I said again. The video's everywhere, Dad, he went on. Everyone's seen it. People at work, friends, colleagues. They keep asking if that's really my mom, if I knew the wedding was going to explode like that. He gave a short, bitter laugh. I was the groomsman praising Kenneth, he said. That's a clip now, too. Me calling him my model of success. It's in those This Aged Poorly compilations. It'll pass, I said. The internet moves fast. Will it? He asked. Because my career might not. My bad judgment is on video with 3 million views. Who's going to trust me with financial decisions when I couldn't spot a fraud standing right in front of me? I wanted to tell him it would all be okay, that he'd bounce back. But he was 24 and some lessons don't come with soft landings. Some mistakes stick. Some consequences don't care about your intentions. Olivia's staying with me for a few days, he said. She's helping me figure out next steps. She said you taught her to verify everything, to never trust the surface. She's a good sister, I said. She is, he agreed. He went quiet for a moment. Dad, he said finally, I was wrong about you, about why you left. I thought you were weak, but you weren't. You just saw what I couldn't, and you got out before it destroyed you. It almost did destroy me, I said. I had a heart attack, Jason, small but real. Your mother's chaos was killing me slowly. I left to survive. I get it now, he said. I'm sorry I didn't before. We talked for another 20 minutes. He asked about Lisbon, about my terrible paintings, about whether I was really happy. I told him the truth. I was. Leaving had been both the hardest and the best decision I'd ever made. When we hung up, I stepped out onto my balcony and watched the fishing boats coming back into harbor. The sunset washed everything in gold. My son had called me Dad again. He'd apologized. He'd finally seen through his mother's performance to the reality underneath. Across the Atlantic, Catherine's perfect wedding was viral for all the wrong reasons. Kenneth's empire was collapsing in real time. And my son was learning that sometimes the strongest thing you can do is walk away from people who refuse to see you clearly. I poured myself a glass of wine and lifted it toward the ocean. To truth, I said quietly, and to the courage to face it. 3 weeks after the wedding, Kenneth Bradshaw's dealerships filed for bankruptcy. The lawsuit became public record: investor fraud, embezzlement, creative accounting that made Enron look almost modest. News outlets tore into the story. Catherine's name was in every article. Wife of disgraced businessman Kenneth Bradshaw. Luxury real estate agent married to fraud suspect. Her firm quietly asked her to step back. Client calls dropped by 70% in a week. Olivia sent me the court documents. I read them over my morning coffee on the balcony. The house Catherine and Kenneth had bought together, leveraged to the hilt with 3 mortgages, the cars leased at rates that screamed desperation. The joint accounts emptied by creditors within 48 hours of the bankruptcy filing. Everything Catherine thought she'd won by marrying Kenneth vanished faster than it had appeared. My phone rang. Olivia. "Dad, you need to hear this," she said. Her voice was tight, forced steady. "I just got off the phone with Mom. She's being sued. Kenneth's creditors found out she got gifts and transfers during the marriage. They're claiming she knew about the fraud, that she benefited from stolen investor funds." "Did she?" I asked. "She swears she didn't," Olivia said. "But Dad, the paperwork looks bad. Kenneth bought her a car 2 weeks before the wedding. 40 grand in cash from an account funded entirely by investor capital. On paper, she's liable. How much are they coming after her for? $280,000, she said, plus legal fees." She hesitated. "She doesn't have it." "The house I left her?" I asked. "Yeah," Olivia said. "Remember all those refinances you did before you left? The ones she never knew about?" "Exactly," I said. "Well," Olivia continued, "turns out the house is worth less than the total owed. She can't sell without taking a loss. She can't borrow against it. She's stuck." "What about Kenneth?" I asked. "Kenneth is gone," Olivia said flatly. "Literally. His lawyers can't even find him. There were rumors he'd run, somewhere without an extradition treaty. Brazil, maybe, Costa Rica." Olivia let out a short, sharp laugh. "Mom married him 6 months ago," she said. "Now she's alone with his debts and a viral video that pops up every time someone Googles her name." "Has she asked you for help?" I asked. "She called Jason first," Olivia said. "He told her he's dealing with his own career mess thanks to Kenneth. Then she called me and asked if I could loan her money. I said no." "How did that go over?" "About how you'd expect," she replied. "She called me heartless, said family helps family, said she raised me better than this." Olivia's voice hardened. "I told her she raised me to verify facts before making decisions," she said, "and that she should have verified Kenneth before marrying him." "That must have gone over beautifully," I said. She hung up, Olivia replied. Then she texted that, "I'm just like you, cold, calculating, incapable of real love." She paused. I took it as a compliment. I couldn't help but smile. "How's your brother?" I asked. "Better," she said. "His firm took him off administrative leave after 2 weeks. They went through everything and decided he genuinely didn't know about Kenneth's fraud. But, Dad, his reputation took a hit. They moved him to a smaller division, less client contact, less visibility. It'll take years to rebuild trust." "He'll do it," I said. "He's smart, and he's tougher than he thinks." "He is," she agreed, "and he's learning. He called me last night and said he's going back over all his assumptions about you and Mom, reevaluating everything. He said he can't believe how blind he was." "We all see what we want to see," I said. "Until we can't anymore." Olivia was quiet for a beat. "Dad, there's something else," she said. "The viral video. It's being used in business schools now as a case study in due diligence failures. How not to vet a partner. Mom's wedding is literally being taught as an example of what happens when you choose image over substance." "That's unfortunate," I said. "Is it?" she countered. "Because to me, it looks like justice. She spent decades building her life on appearances. Now, everyone can see what happens when the foundation isn't real." We talked for another hour. She told me about a new investigation she was working on, corporate fraud at a tech startup. She described her approach as looking for gaps between what people claim and what they can prove. "You taught me that," she said. "You and your quiet exit. You didn't make a scene, didn't threaten, didn't fight. You just protected yourself, documented everything, and left. That's real strength." After we hung up, I sat watching the Tagus River. A cargo ship was moving slowly toward the Atlantic, steady, unhurried, deliberate. Catherine had lost everything she'd traded me for. Kenneth was gone. Her career was damaged, her reputation shredded, her finances wrecked, and she had done it all to herself by choosing flash over foundation. I didn't feel triumphant, I felt tired and grateful. Grateful I'd walked away when I did. Grateful my heart attack had been a warning, not a full stop. Grateful for the quiet life I'd built on solid ground. My phone buzzed, a text from Jason. Starting therapy next week. Olivia recommended someone. I think I need to understand why I defended Mom for so long, why I couldn't see what was right in front of me. Thanks for trying to warn me, even when I wouldn't listen. I typed back, proud of you, son. That takes real courage. His reply came almost instantly. I learned from the best. 8 months after the wedding, things started to settle into a new normal. Kenneth Bradshaw was indicted on 17 counts of investor fraud. Catherine sold the house at a steep loss and moved into a small apartment in a neighborhood she used to call transitional with thinly veiled contempt. Her real estate license was suspended pending an ethics review. Jason called me every Sunday. We'd talk for an hour, sometimes more. He was rebuilding, slowly. His firm kept him in a quieter division, handling smaller accounts and less glamorous deals. It's humbling, he said on one call, but I think I need it. I'm learning to ask the questions I should have asked years ago, not just about money, about people, about myself. That's growth, I said, and growth hurts. He hesitated. I talked to Mom last week, he added. She asked if I could help with rent. I said no. How did that feel? I asked. Awful, he admitted. And right. She spent my whole childhood telling me family means sacrifice. But she never sacrificed anything herself. She just expected everyone else to carry her weight. You're learning boundaries, I said. That matters. Olivia's been helping with that, he said, laughing. She's got boundaries like castle walls. She told Mom, I'm not your retirement plan or your emotional support animal. Figure it out. Your sister's always been direct, I said. She has, he answered, and I'm grateful for it now. He paused. Dad, I'm seeing someone, he said. Her name's Amy. She's a teacher. Nothing glamorous, nothing flashy. She's just real. When I told her about the wedding disaster, about Mom, about everything, she didn't judge me. She just asked if I learned anything from it. Smart woman, I said. She is, he agreed. I think you'd like her. Maybe when you come back to the States, you could meet her. I'd like that, I said. When are you thinking? Actually, he said, I was thinking about coming to Lisbon for a week, if that's okay. I want to see where you live, see what you built after you left. We picked dates, 3 months out. Jason would come for a week. I'd show him the cafe where I sketch, the beach where I swim, the hilltop viewpoints where the city looks like it's exhaling, the quiet life that pulled me back from the edge. Olivia was thriving. Her investigation into corporate fraud had won awards. She'd already been promoted twice. When I told her Jason was visiting, she said she'd try to schedule a trip around the same time. A family reunion in Lisbon, she said. Can you believe that? A year ago, I wouldn't even have called that possible. A lot was unthinkable a year ago. True, Olivia said. Dad, I need to tell you something. I saw Mom last month. She hesitated. She looks smaller now, not physically, just diminished. She asked about you, if you were happy. What did you tell her? I asked. The truth, Olivia said, that you're healthier than you've been in decades, that you paint and swim and have friends, that you actually smile now. She paused. She cried, said she made terrible choices, said she wished she'd listened when you suggested therapy. Regret's a harsh teacher, I said. It is, Olivia agreed. But I don't feel bad for her, Dad. She had every chance to choose differently. She chose image. She got exactly what she built. Catherine never called me. I saw her occasionally online. Friends sent links sometimes. She posted about new beginnings and lessons from adversity. The comment sections were mostly empty, a handful of supportive messages, and a whole lot of silence. The viral wedding video eventually drifted out of the trending cycle. New scandals took its place, but it never disappeared. It stayed there, one search away. A permanent digital monument to choices and consequences. My heart, meanwhile, was strong. My cardiologist in Lisbon told me, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Low stress, regular exercise, good wine, better company. I painted more. and got better. Still nothing anyone would hang in a gallery, but honest, raw. One piece showed two figures walking away from each other, one toward chaos, one toward calm. I called it divergence and hung it in my living room. 14 months after I left Catherine, I met someone. Her name was Isabel. She was 50, Portuguese, and owned a small bookstore near Alfama. I wandered in one afternoon looking for English novels. She handed me Portuguese poetry instead. "You live here now," she said in lightly accented, flawless English. "You should understand the language of this place." Coffee turned into dinners, then into slow walks through neighborhoods she'd known since childhood. She didn't know anything about my past. She didn't Google me, didn't interrogate me. She just accepted the man in front of her. "You seem like someone who's been through something hard," she said once. "But you made it to the other side. That's what matters." Isabel was a widow. Her husband had died of cancer 5 years earlier. She understood loss and reconstruction. We talked about rebuilding like architects comparing blueprints. "The second time you build something," she told me, "you build it better. You know what actually carries the weight." Jason met her when he came to visit. They spent 2 hours talking about books. That night at dinner, he pulled me aside. "She's wonderful, Dad," he said. "Nothing like Mom. She actually listens when you talk." "She does," I said. "Are you happy?" he asked. I thought about it, a question I'd stopped daring to ask myself a long time ago. "Yes," I said. "I really am. Honestly happy." "Good," he said. "You deserve that." Olivia came 2 weeks later. She and Isabel clicked instantly, both of them direct, no nonsense, uninterested in performance. Just two women who cared far more about substance than style. "She's a keeper," Olivia told me. "Don't screw it up." "I'll try not to," I said. "I mean it, Dad," she added. "You finally have something real, something Mom never gave you, an actual partnership." 3 months later, Jason called with news. "I got promoted," he said, unable to hide the pride in his voice. "They said I'm the most thorough analyst they've got now, because I verify everything. I don't take anything at face value anymore." "I'm proud of you, son," I said. "I learned from you," he said. "The hard way, but I learned." Catherine eventually filed for bankruptcy. The lawsuits, the debt, the underwater house. She couldn't dig herself out. Her parents helped her move to Arizona, far from California and its memories. I heard she was working in retail now, selling furniture. A long fall from high-end real estate. I didn't feel triumphant, just sad for all the wasted years. For the woman who could have been my partner and chose to be my audience instead. Kenneth Bradshaw was sentenced to 12 years in federal prison. Investor fraud, wire fraud, money laundering. His dealerships were sold off. The investors got back about 30 cents on the dollar. One evening, Isabel and I sat on my balcony as the sun slid down over the Tagus, washing everything in amber and pink. She was reading Portuguese poetry aloud and translating lines for me. I was sketching her profile in a notebook. "You know what I love about you?" she said suddenly. "Tell me," I said. "You're present," she replied. "Completely here. Not performing, not plotting 3 moves ahead, just here." "It took me 54 years to learn that," I said. "Better late than never," she smiled. She glanced toward the river. "Will your children visit again soon?" "Jason's planning to spend Christmas here," I said. "Olivia might come for New Year's. They want to meet your kids." "Blended families at our age," she laughed. "My mother would have opinions." "She's welcome to them," I said. "We're building something real. That's what matters." She reached for my hand. We watched the river shift from gold to silver as the light faded. Ships passed, heading out to open water. Seabirds called. The city settled into its evening rhythm. I thought about the man I used to be, stressed, suffocating, slowly dying in a beautiful house with a woman who never really saw him. That version of me felt like someone I'd once met in passing, but never truly understood. The man on this balcony, in this city, with this woman who knew my present better than my past. That was someone I'd clawed my way into becoming. Someone who chose peace over performance, truth over appearance, foundation over facade. My phone buzzed. A text from Jason. "Amy said yes. We're engaged. Can we have the wedding in Lisbon? Small, real, just the people who matter. You and Isabel could help us plan it." I showed Isabel the message. Her eyes lit up. "Tell him yes," she said. "Tell him we would be honored." I typed back, "Congratulations, son. Lisbon sounds perfect. We'll make it beautiful, the right kind of beautiful. His reply came almost instantly. Thanks, Dad, for everything, for showing me what real strength looks like. I love you. I set my phone down and looked at Isabel, at the river, at the city I'd chosen as home. This is good, I said. Yes, Isabel replied. This is very good. And for the first time in longer than I could remember, I wasn't waiting for the other shoe to drop. I wasn't planning an escape route. I wasn't bracing for chaos. I was just living, fully, honestly, on solid ground.